Why did Ryan Poles pass on Jalen Carter in the 2023 draft? Based on the comments from my Jervon Dexter video, I wanted to make a continuation here, addressing something I left out of the previous video, mainly because that video was about Jervon Dexter and not Jalen Carter. But I did use Jalen Carter for comparison and because of some of the narratives going around. But my biggest 2 points of that video were Jervon Dexter's upside and Vic Fangio's effect on the Eagles defense. But something that's really been overlooked here, and one of the reasons I believe that Ryan Poles passed on Jalen Carter, were his red flags pre-draft and his character. I'm not trying to say Carter has bad character or anything like that, but the red flags were clearly there. And also, the Bears did not have the same locker room that the Eagles did, which they offered the perfect situation to develop a guy like Jalen Carter. Carter walked into a defensive line that already had two potential future Hall of Famers on it in Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, already starting on that defensive line. But on top of that, they also had two of his former teammates, fellow first round picks out of Georgia themselves, also on the defensive line, in Nolan Smith and Jordan Davis. So that's three first round picks who all played together at Georgia and won a national championship. And then it's mixed in with veterans, leadership, and you have Vic Fangio calling the plays. But the Bears offered none of that. If we would have drafted Jalen Carter, we have no idea how it would have worked out with Matt Eberflus running the show. On top of that, we also have to remember, this was the first round pick that Ryan Poles ever made. It was the first time he ever made a selection in the first round. His first draft, he only had the two second rounders thanks to Ryan Pace's trade up for Justin Fields. So this is the first pick he was ever making in round one. And he had also just learned from his biggest mistake in trading for Chase Claypool. So character and love for the game of football really mattered to Ryan Poles here. And that's something I believe people have simply not taken into account. Jalen Carter's character was a risk, point blank, period. There are still stories of people questioning his love for football, and I'm not one of those people. But the concern was real. And Ryan Poles picking a guy like that with his first ever pick in the first round, he would have been criticized heavily for it. And it might have ended up being a disaster here, even with how much talent Jalen Carter has. We simply do not have the same culture or the same coaching staff to develop him. So instead, Ryan Poles took Darnell Wright, picked up an additional fourth round pick, and then added Jervon Dexter in the next round. What did Jervon Dexter and Darnell Wright both have in common? They are both guys with incredible character. They also have a ton of passion and love for the game. Nobody's questioning that. There were zero red flags in that category with either of those players. So they fit the Chicago Bears, and they were safer choices for Ryan Poles. I think it's something you have to at least consider when discussing the 2023 NFL Draft. And honestly, it could help us identify Ryan Poles' targets moving forward. His picks are always passionate guys with great character. Look at his recent draft picks: Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams, Darnell Wright, Jervon Dexter, Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, Braxton Jones. All of his draft picks have fit that mold. So it'll be interesting to see if things change with Ben Johnson in the house helping build this roster. Maybe we'll have better culture now and can take more chances on players like a Jalen Carter. Stay tuned, though, guys. I'll be here all offseason covering the Chicago Bears. Let me know how you feel about this one in the comments. I just wanted to quickly get a rebuttal out there. Please hit that like button for me. Stay tuned. And until next time, bear down.